Joining me right now is author and women empowerment specialist Sierra Bender. Good to see you again. We've continued a bunch of series of little reports that we've been doing talking about powering in women. And we're going to talk about something you called silence is the violence. And this is really part of the problem. What do you mean by that?
In the silence is the violence. We have it on both sides. So when women don't come out and speak about this or bring it forward, then the violence continues, such as we've seen with the Harvey Weinstein, and all these women are coming forward. But when women don't report it, then it allows other women to also be abused or used. Then we've got in the silence on the other side with the men, especially what happened with Harvey Weinstein, when all these men knew what were going on, but they didn't say anything. So they fed him to continually abuse.
And because people had been silent about it so long, we talked about this before, we know this kind of sexual harassment has been going on for years.
Oh, absolutely.
In Hollywood especially, but now all of a sudden we're seeing this kind of the breakthrough. So why now? Why the breakthrough now?
The breakthrough now is that slowly, you know, we've been hearing about women's empowerment and women wanting to come more forward and being more in the workforce and have the equality. And a lot of times we're not even aware that that's not even in the system, that there's inequality until we start seeing things such as you know, in scriptures of religion and magazines and PR, and how little by little it just kind of takes pieces of power. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Little by little it takes pieces of power away, and now all of a sudden women are like, they're getting it. They're getting it because they're taking more leadership roles. They're out there more in the workforce.
But because when you add the word sexual to harassment, that also makes it very, very complicated in terms of how do I know that what happened to me is sexual harassment versus I'm just being abused by a bad boss, whether it's a man or a woman?
Yeah, well, you know, it's part of our culture that we're taught that people of power have power over us. A doctor, a police officer, a boss they're worth more than us. They have more power than us. And then there's always this fear that, oh, I'm going to lose my job, or who's ever going to believe me because he has more credibility than me.
Yeah, we're getting the he said, she said thing going on. And that problem with that is then it doesn't seem to ever get resolved.
Well, it doesn't get resolved because, again, in the silence is the violence of how other people play a part of protecting the abuse of the power. And then what happens is that when somebody does come forward, they attack because they want to keep the secret.
Yeah.
And so what happened here is one woman comes forward, then all of a sudden these other women came forward. But here's the thing. When you report something, it's not about does someone believe you or not. It's about you releasing it, so you're not taking it on.
It shouldn't be about that, but then it ends up being about that, whether you want it to or not.
Well, that's the he said, she said, because it's let me take her down because now it's making me look bad, or someone's going to sue my corporation or HR, or this is creating too many problems. Same thing with a rape case, so I'm going to take her down. So then women fear coming forward because it's reenacting.
So silence and the violence can also be in the workplace, where men or women should be able to say to their bosses, hey, there's something that's not right here. Or there's got to be something, HR office or something, to say, I've noticed somebody's behavior and it just doesn't, there's just something strange about it. Will you please look into it?
Well, we need to have courses also on teaching men how to be around women and vice versa. Again, going back to the first segment of what is feminine and what is masculine and what both parties bring to the table and how do we communicate. Because it's all about miscommunication also.
Wow.
You know, it's not about blaming. We're at that point now, you know, it's like we need to step up to the plate and say, you know, we are more powerful together than we are separated.
Yeah, huge cultural change, and it is taking place right now, and that's a good thing, folks. Conversations are always good. Thank you, Sierra. We'll have you back on again soon.